Hello and namaskar viewers, I am Sanjeev Pandya welcoming you to the brand new show This Week in Business right here on your favorite TV channel, that's ITV Gold. In this show, in This Week in Business, that's the title of the show. In this show, we're going to bring you all the latest that you need to know from the world of business, and not only from USA but all over the world. International business news, USA business news, how it affects USA stock market, and of course USA corporations, and as well as international corporations. Joining me in this show and bringing the expertise from business angle point of view is none other than Mr. A.J. Kumar, CPA and MBA with Sai CPA Services, whom you have seen earlier on this channel for the tax show. But in this brand new show series, we're going to talk about business, and Mr. A.J. Kumar will share his knowledge and expertise on business matters, and we are so pleased to have him right here in the show. A.J. Kumar, welcome to the show. Good to see you.
Thank you, Sanjeevji. I appreciate that. As you rightly said, in this program,
yes,
we want to bring news that our viewers can use.
Exactly.
There is a lot of news in the market. You go on Google, you go on any TV channel. There are news channels.
Yes.
They are going with news whole day, every day. But how much of that news you can really use? How much of that news is really applicable to you as a small business? So in this show, we bring the news that you can use as a small business.
Absolutely, good words to say it. News that you can use and news that you will find it very interesting. I guarantee you that in this show, you'll find at least one or two stories that perhaps you missed it or you didn't realize, is because our team is going to do a lot of research to bring down the best of the best stories right here in this brand new show called This Week in the Business on ITV Gold. Now talk about Mr. A.J. Kumar, who is a CPA and MBA with Sai CPA Services, a full-fledged accounting firm located right here in the state of New Jersey, multiple locations, and for your personal taxation or corporation taxes, or for any taxes matter, or even if you are planning to open a company for your business, what is the right corporation for you, what kind of company that you should set up, all the guidance and suggestion can be given by Sai CPA Services. You can give them a call at 908-380-6876, and their website is saicpaservices.com. They're trained and experienced. A team of CPAs will definitely help you out. So please keep that in the mind, and as we go into the tax season, we'll have a lot more coming your way from Sai CPA Services during the tax season as well. Now let's talk about this week in the business.
Absolutely.
And of course, when it comes to business, it definitely starts with stock market.
Absolutely. There are a lot of news about the stock market. People know the stock market is acting up. One day is up,
yes,
one day is down. I mean, it was down 22% at one point of time,
yes,
compared to the last year's high.
Correct.
I mean, it's still down, not as much. But in this news, we want to make sense out of this stock market news. When does the stock market goes up? Which stocks will go up? This news, this program is not about giving you the tax advice, the stock advice. The information is more about making sense
yes,
of the news.
Correct.
How do we understand this
Absolutely.
news? Say, for example, when the gas prices are going up, who gets affected the most? The people who are not able to make the ends meet. The poor people gets affected most when the gas prices are going up.
Yes.
People who are driving Mercedes, BMW, they don't care about the gas prices.
So that is the kind of theory that you're trying to say.
Absolutely.
Is that when gas prices go up, that means people really have a tight budget for the dollar store, for the Walmart shopping and stuff like that.
Absolutely. So when the gas prices are going up, you will find that Walmart stocks are going down. Dollar Tree stores the stocks are going down. Last week, Dollar Tree stocks went down by 10%. I mean, there are a lot of other reasons as well. But this is all about making sense of the news. When one thing happens, how does it affect the stock market? Which stocks get affected more than other stocks? So when you see the gas prices going up, you will see a lot of smaller stocks. Stocks for the companies where most poor people are shopping around, or people who have hard time making the ends meet are shopping. Those are the stocks you will see getting affected most.
Absolutely. And I just want to add this news. Shares of enterprise software maker dropped about 5.6%
Absolutely.
after they announced disappointing forecast for the year 2023.
That's how it is. I mean, it's all about the expectation.
Yes.
The stock prices are not determined by the past earning. The stock prices are determined by the future expectation from that company. That's why when you see a rumor,
Right.
you can actually see stock prices getting volatile. One day is high, one day is low, even though nothing changed in the past.
See, when it comes to economy, there's always a saying that, if stock market goes down, the economy is not good, stock market is up, and the economy is good. There is a myth, it's exactly not very true. But you know what? Everybody keeps an eye on the stock market.
Everybody does.
And it's
You're right.
mentally feels that way. Oh, if stock market is doing good, if we're at 30,000, 32, 34,000, that means it's really good. Everyone's making money. Psychologically, it feels the economy is good.
Well, take a step back. See, we all have money in the stock market in one form or other, maybe through the retirement accounts or maybe through the investment account. So even though we are not taking the money out, but the feeling that my money is growing gives me this perception that I have more affordability.
Yes.
I can spend more money.
Correct.
When the stock market goes down, the feeling, the perception that my money is going down, I may not have enough money for my retirement, for my future planning, does not allow me to spend more money. It restricts me. So that's why when you have the stock market going up, people feel happier, or people will be spending more even though their earnings have not changed.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so now from the stock market, let's move down to Joe Biden's stock
Absolutely.
to see how it's doing. When I say Joe Biden's stock, I actually meant to say Joe Biden's popularity.
Absolutely.
See how it's doing, because Joe Biden just recently announced forgiveness on a student loan.
Absolutely.
$10,000 in a federal student loan for most borrowers and $20,000 for the other borrowers. But what exactly is in between the lines, that's what Mr. Ajay Kumar is going to tell us.
Absolutely. So it's a new thing. Biden promised student loan forgiveness as a part of their election campaign. Now they are trying to put a plan around it. Up to $10,000 of student loan will be forgiven if the rule is ever signed. It's not signed yet. We are still talking about it. There are certain income limitations that you have to be worrying about. If you are making more than certain amount of income, you may not qualify for it. Once the rule is published, you will see a lot of fuss in the market. You will see a lot of discussions in the market. So please make sure you read the fine lines once the rules are finalized. And it's not going to be that the student loans are forgiven. You will see a lot of news on the internet. The student loans are forgiven. They won't even mention the amount. The amount is $10,000. If you have a student loan, up to $10,000 only will be forgiven for you.
Exactly. And then for $20,000, but there is income limits also.
Yeah, absolutely. So if as a single filer, if your income is less than $125,000, you qualify, or that's what we have in the rules so far. It can change. If as a married filing joint taxpayer, if your income is less than $250,000, you qualify. Again, this is in works. This is not final yet. So please read the fine points, read the fine lines before you decide if you qualify for the loan forgiveness or not.
Okay. And I just want to add one more point into it, Ajay Kumar, is that Biden has not announced this because of pandemic and because of the current economic situation. It has nothing to do with it. If you remember, when Biden was campaigning for the election as a president of USA, he had promised this.
Absolutely.
He had promised
part
this
of the
student
campaign.
loan
Absolutely.
forgiveness,
Yeah.
and that's why the student loans lobby were after him, and finally he had to make an announcement. So this is in reference to one of the promises that he had made during the campaign. Now let's go to the next story. I think Mr. Ajay Kumar will be very happy to give out details, and not only Mr. Ajay Kumar, but everyone at Science CPS Services will be answering to their clients' calls regarding this matter. This is actually a good news, a very welcome news.
Absolutely.
IRS to refund. Very welcome news is $1.2 billion in late filing fees for nearly 1.6 million taxpayers.
Absolutely. So it's a new thing, just came out. And there is nothing as a taxpayer that you have to do. You do not have to file any request. You do not have to file any amendment. If you file your 2019 or 2020 during the COVID time, your information tax return late, and you paid the penalty, and IRS collected 1.2 billion, not million, billion dollars in such interest and penalties. IRS will refund all that money without having the taxpayers to do anything. 1.6 million taxpayers are expected to get this money. So keep an eye on it. This money is supposed to come out before September end. If you paid any penalty, any interest on any tax return for 2019 and 2020, please keep an eye on it. Don't throw the check. The check looks funny. The IRS check looks green and yellowish. It's, I say churan check.
Yeah.
So if it looks churan check to you, please keep it. It's the real check, and it's a refund of the interest and penalty that you paid.
So 1.6 million people will get
$2
$1.2
billion.
billion. So that's going to be.
So everybody is supposed to get almost $800 on an average.
Why do this?
Well, the rule was that everybody was supposed to pay. So IRS sent notices to everybody. And most people paid. I mean, nobody wants to deal with IRS. If you got a notice for a few $100s, you paid. You don't fight with IRS for a few $100s. So IRS collected $1.2 billion in 2019 and 2020 late filing interest and penalties. The new rule that Congress passed, that due to COVID times, a lot of people were genuinely late. It was not because they wanted to file late, they had no option but to file late. The CPA wasn't available or their documents were not available. There were legitimate reasons. So instead of having to justify every taxpayer that your reason was legitimate, your reason was not, which would create more work for IRS to go through the paperwork, they decided, let's give it to everybody. It's easier that way, and it's less expensive for IRS and for the government to give it to everybody.
You know, it seems like President Joe Biden is in the mood of giving away so many things, you know, giving money here, giving money there. He just announced that he's going to give $3 billion to Ukraine. So, you know, that number is adding up to a few $billion. And now, of course, the student loan forgiveness, and then IRS is refunding $1.2 billion to 1.6 million people. So it's in a giving mood. And we are actually in a giving mood of a lot of business news right here in This Week in Business show with Mr. AJ Kumar. With that note, we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we got some more interesting business related stories for you. So please don't go away. Welcome back to the second half of This Week in Business show right here on ITV Gold. In case if you have just joined us, this is a brand new show that we have started right here on your favorite TV channel. That's ITV Gold. This Week in Business, I'm a host Sanjeev Pandya, and I'm joined by Mr. AJ Kumar, CPA and MBA with Science CPS Services, a complete accounting firm right here in state of New Jersey to help you with any tax matter, personal or corporate tax matter, or even a company related matter, whatever that you need to know. Science CPS Services can definitely help you out. So the idea for this show is to bring you the latest business stories and कुछ ऐसी stories जो आप relate कर सको, आपको सुनना अच्छा लगे, and maybe if you missed it during the week, we're going to make sure that you come to know about it in this show. Now let's talk about this story, which is the consumer spending, because whenever consumer spending and CPI, Consumer Price Index news come out, that basically tells you what is the mood of Americans, out there, and what's happening with the economy, how retailers should really forecast their business, and a lot of things attached with the consumer spending. Now, of course, there was a news that America is going to go into recession. Perhaps it will go into recession, long recession, short recession. Nobody was sure, but Fed decided to raise interest rates, and they have done it. But now there is some encouraging news.
Absolutely. And again, we want to remind our viewers, there's so much news in the market. Everybody has a news channel. How do you make sense of this news? You have a retail shop, you have a small shop, you have a grocery shop. Should you buy more grocery? Should you not buy more grocery? So when you think about recession, when you think about nobody's buying anything, should I plan for Diwali, Christmas, or should I just leave it this year? So there is good news. Our government is expecting the sales will start coming back on Christmas. इसका क्या मतलब हुआ कि अगर Christmas पे sale होनी है, इसका मतलब you as a small business have to start buying now. It takes 3 months, 4 months for the containers to come from India, from Thailand, from anywhere internationally. So you have to start planning now. This is the news that you can use. That's the whole idea about this show. As a small business, as a retailer, as a shop, you have to start planning now. Government is expecting the sales to increase during this Christmas. If you look at the data that the government is presenting, they are not saying recession is coming anymore. All the data says, based on the interest rate increase, inflation has been curbed down. So as a retailer, plan ahead. Plan for Diwali, plan for Christmas, buy stuff, buy more.
Absolutely. Buy stuff, buy more. Moving on to the next story. And this will definitely make parents very happy. It has to do with school supplies, but this is for the state of New Jersey. In spite of all these trouble having, state in their budget and everything, they are actually doing something really good. New Jersey sales tax holiday, especially for school supplies. It will be tax-free beginning this coming Saturday. When I say this coming Saturday is what, August 27th?
Yes. It starts on August 27th. It's going to go till September 15th for full 10 days. No sales tax. If you remember, sales tax in New Jersey is 6.625%. Most states, not just New Jersey, have the sales tax holiday like that. Go to internet, go to Google, find out for your state what's the sales tax holiday. New Jersey typically does not have sales tax holiday every year. Even New Jersey is having sales tax holiday this year. For these 10 days, no sales tax on your school supply, on computers, laptops, on your sports equipment. So there are a lot of items that they have identified where there will not be any sales tax charged to you. So please go out of your way. If you need to buy it, buy between September 27th, August 27th, to September 5th. These 10 days, there is no sales tax. Sanjeevji, this move is expected to cost the state of New Jersey $75 million. It's a lot of money. So it's more about giving the money back to the consumer. This is indirect way for the state not to collect money from you for the school supply, for the small equipment.
Absolutely. So make a note of that, and if you happen to go to a store and if they are charging you sales tax on a school supplies, make sure that you let them know that there is no sales tax during this 10 days, August 27 to September 5th. Moving on to the next story, but before that I have a question for Mr. AJ Kumar. How many people that you know that they have parked their millions of dollars in offshore?
There are a lot of them. There are a lot of them. The downside is, the irony is, people who have millions of dollars can afford the good CPAs, good accountants, good attorneys to work around the system. So they don't have to pay the taxes, they don't have to declare that money. People who don't have millions of dollars, they are the ones who find an online tax software and ends up paying more than what they should be paying.
Really?
Just last week, IRS disclosed that $1.3 billion will be lost. The taxpayers will never get back. See, the way the system works, taxpayers have 3 years only to get the refund. If you pay more than your fair share, if you compute in your taxes that you are signing, if you are paying more than what you should be paying, IRS does not refund the money back to you. You have the right up until 3 years to file an amendment to get the money back. If you don't get the money back, that money you lost forever. IRS keeps it. Right now, you can file 19, 20, 21. But for the prior years, $1.3 billion will be lost by the taxpayer that IRS would have to refund if they file an amendment, but IRS is not giving any more time.
Is it been always 3 years?
It has always been 3 years.
Really?
Every year, 1 year, the past year goes away. So IRS keeps that money because nobody requested it. So the problem with the system is you have to have money to make money. So going back to the billionaire theory, a lot of millionaires, they park a lot of money in the foreign accounts. The rule under FBAR, FinCEN 114 is that you have to report this money in your foreign bank account reporting. What's the catch here? The caveat is the banks are not supposed to report for other banks. So if I have a bank account in ICICI Bank, the bank has to report it. I will have to report it. But if I open a financial institution, if I open it, just to keep it simple, if I have a bank, my bank has an account with ICICI Bank. ICICI Bank does not have to report anything about my bank.
Really?
That's the loophole in the system.
Then how are they not regulated? I mean,
Well, ICICI Bank is regulated to report all individual transaction,
Right.
not for other banks. So these billionaires, millionaires will create a financial institute, a lending company, pseudo lending company, pseudo bank,
Yes.
a financial institution. They will have their financial institution open the account in ICICI Bank or other Indian bank or other foreign bank. This foreign bank is not expected to report other banks' transaction. They are expected to report the individual transaction. So I, as an individual, if I make $50,000, I cannot afford to create my own bank. I cannot afford to create my own lending company. So my accounts are reported. But if you are making $10 million,
Or more than that, 100
more
million,
than that, if you are making $100 million, you create your lending company, you create your financial institution. You keep sending the money to your financial institution
Right.
in a foreign account,
Yep.
which is never reported to IRS.
All right, so Senate panel is looking into this.
Absolutely. There's
and
a
they're
lot
gonna-
of scrutiny about it.
They're going to go bottom of this thing because this has always been in the news about
Absolutely.
billionaires and multi-millionaires parking their money over in the offshore accounts, and that is what the offshore account means. What Mr. Ajay Kumar just explained, to save some taxes. All right, you have heard of Zelle nowadays because it's easy to transfer money, and also you have heard of Venmo. But Venmo is going to be going step higher than just sending money here and there.
Absolutely. So Venmo is bringing the new service, the business service. Venmo was used for transferring money from person to person earlier. Now, in the coming days, Venmo will have service where, as a vendor, you can collect the money from your customers. Through Venmo, you can send them the invoice and you can collect money, and the Venmo will transfer the money directly to you. So Venmo is going one step higher. It's going to be not just a personal service, it's going to have a business side to it. And it's free for all the people who wants to use Venmo.
Amazing. All right. We just have little more than 1 minute left. Quickly, I want you to share some, your insight on this story. By harnessing women's potential, India can realize its Vision 2047 goals, according to PM Modi.
Absolutely. So PM Modi is going out of their way. See, if you think about it, it's a simple theory. Let's assume 50% man, 50% woman. And it's very close to it. When we have only the man in the workforce, we are only using 50% of the potential strength. In our world, in ethnic world, in Indian world, men are out doing work and women are sitting at home. But if we can have women working or women adding value to the society as well, then you have 100% strength as opposed to 50%, 60% or 70% strength. So PM Modi is going out of his way. And think about Ruma Devi. I mean, great example. Ruma Devi is employing 30,000 women alone.
Yes.
That's a moral story. That means if you go search for Ruma Devi, I mean, this is an inspiring story.
Absolutely.
So,
very interesting. Yes, for the women entrepreneur, that's a very interesting and inspiring story.
Absolutely. So in the end, we want to let our viewers know in this section, we want to bring the news that you can really use as a small business, as an individual. This is not about hypothetical news. This is not about S&P going up and Dow Jones going down. I don't care. मैं क्या करूं? How does it affect me? This is all about news that you can use.
No, we do care, but there is stories always related to around stock market performances, and the business stories.
Absolutely.
So that's what we're going to try to do that in this show this week in the business every week right here on ITV Gold with Mr. Ajay Kumar, CPA and MBA with Science CPA Services, a complete accounting firm, been assisting individuals for over 25 years. They can help you out with any accounting matters, personal, corporate, business open, business close, or whatever you need to do. Give them a call, 908-380-6876, or their website, sciencecpaservices.com. Ajay Kumar, thank you so very much for your time.
Thank you.
And until we meet again, we're going to keep an eye on all the business stories, and we're going to bring it to you when we meet next time right here on ITV Gold. I am Sanjeev Pandya, wishing you all happy business days. So long.